Hello everybody, it's Vinyl Rich here with a Vinyl Finds video. I do not remember off the top of my head which number it is, but it doesn't really matter. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day as Memorial Day winds down. And I'm going to read the lyrics from a band, an oi skinhead band from England, called Remembrance Day. Remember the fields all full of red, the rows of poppies growing over the dead, sent to die in a far-off field, a part of land that will never heal. Lest we ever do forget the price that had to be paid, lest we ever do forget the sacrifices they made. Never mind the rights and wrongs of war. The young men fell in their scores, men of all classes and men of all age, men who would never live for today. For the men who fought against the scourge of power, we celebrate their death by wearing a flower. The call will come again and again. The lines will be formed and men will go away, left to wonder the truth of it all. But will you be able to resist that call? Remembrance, remembrance, Remembrance Day. Great band, man. The Foreskins, great band. I'm going to start this off with the Bonehead section of my video. And my records are all tipping. And I'm going to show the Tea Company. I showed this in the Bobby Gas video. The 11/11 contest that was rigged. His Irish buddy won, of course. But anyways, in that video, I'm just kidding. I said the Tea Company were from Canada. And they're not. They're from the US. The reason I thought they were from Canada, I made a video of my favorite psych albums, and I showed this. And in the comments, somebody told me the Tea Company are a Canadian band. Because in the video I said, I don't remember where they're from, somewhere in the US. So I looked it up. And there is a band, the Tea Company, from Canada. But that band is a 90s band. So I guess I didn't do good enough research. This is Kaleidoscope. I showed this recently. This is the band that had David Lindley in it. Their first two albums I highly recommend. They're just pretty wacky psych. Side Trips and A Beacon to Mars. This is like a reunion one they did in the mid to late 70s, like 76 or something like that. And I said that David Lindley was not on this, but actually he is. He's under the pseudonym Chris Darrow. But yeah, very cool. This has some really country leanings on it. Now on to my recent vinyl finds. Most of these records I picked up in the weekend of Mother's Day. But I got a couple of albums here and a few 7-inches that I picked up before that. This is the Ramones, Animal Boy. One of their 80s. It's a gold stamp promo. I had this album already, but it was warped. It wasn't the wavy warp. It was like the bowl warp. And I was able to trade that record in at Amoeba. And what I did is I had a stack of books on top of it for like a week. And it actually did flatten it out. I don't know if the warp went back, but I was able to trade that in because I found this really nice copy. This is the insert. The album, it's got some really good songs, and it's got a couple of wankers. Sire Records. And I did pick up one more. This is a Red Cross. This is Third Eye, and it says it's a Record Store Day 2018 exclusive, a limited edition green vinyl pressing. I did not know this was coming out on Record Store Day. I did not see it on Record Store Day. I do have a copy of this, but like a dumbass, I picked up this one. It's got this insert, which on the original, this was the inner sleeve. And it's on Atlantic, and it is on green vinyl. a very dark green. I don't even know if that's going to pick it up in the... I mean, it's like a Jets green, you know? Look at that. Green's my favorite color. Jets, Jets. Football season coming up. And I got some 7 inches. I got a La Luz 7-inch. It's Brainwash on side 1, which is a dreamy vocals, harmonies with organ and fuzz garage guitars. And on the back side is a TV Dream, which is a surf instrumental. And this is, I think it's the 4th pressing of this single, actually. And I got it. It's limited on this beautiful pink vinyl. It's actually a really good single. The next one I got is a Courtney Barnett. This is a one-sided single. It's the song Nameless Faceless from her new album, Tell Me How You Really Feel. Just came out. This is like a one-sided single, and it's just stamped here with a CB on there. And I picked it up. The song's okay. I don't think it's as good as her earlier stuff. I got one here. It's the Weasels. Beat Her With a Rake. They used to play this on K-Rock. Rodney on the Rock used to play this song. And it's backed with I'm the Commander. Both pretty sexist lyrics. I mean, Beat Her With Her... It's all tongue-in-cheek. You know, it's supposed to be humorous. I saw this band twice. And both times I saw them, the opening band were the Dogs. The band that Dead Wax 66 knows. I guess they came from the Detroit area, moved out to LA. And this came out in 78. This is the Brainiacs. This is their 1979 7-inch. Another LA band. It's like a 4-song EP. And it's on yellow vinyl, so I will show it. It's like Devo Punk. This came out in 1979. I think I said that. And it's like a Devo type punk. It's really good though. This band kind of evolved into like a funk punk band. Pretty good band. In concert they were pretty entertaining. This next one is a really cool one. This is a 1979 single by Extreme. This band would become Youth Brigade, the hardcore punk band. Youth Brigade formed in 1980. This came out in 79. And Youth Brigade started BYO record label. They were behind Godzilla's. It was like a club. It was actually a former bowling alley in the San Fernando Valley. They used to have punk shows there. Saw the Dam there. Saw TSOL. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I've actually never seen this before. And my last 7-inch is CH3 or Channel 3. This came out in 83, but I believe these songs are much earlier. Posh Boy, you know, they would just milk it, man. They would release the stuff over and over and over again. And it's on the Posh Boy label. And the tie-in with Godzilla's, I did see this band at Godzilla's, Channel 3, and they were actually so drunk, it interfered with their performance. I mean, they weren't that good. And this 7-inch is okay. It's not that great either. I do have another 7-inch by them with I Got a Gun and Manzanar. 100 times better. Now, as I mentioned briefly, I did trade some albums in at Amoeba. Mother's Day weekend, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I had a little coupon for a 20% You got 20% more for your trade-ins of vinyl and CDs, DVDs too, I suppose. And I traded in like 25, maybe 30 albums. I had an Osmonds album that was sealed. I listened to it online and I didn't like it, so I just left it sealed. A couple of Van Halen, that Goldsboro guy that sings Honey, that's a horrible album. And then I had some good ones, like I had that Ramones one. I had an Alex Chilton, a couple of Miles Davis, a couple of Weather Report, Herbie Hancock. But I ended up getting $150 of credit, so I was happy with that. And I got 4 things for that $150. And the first one I got is the Bad Brains, their first album. This was originally released on cassette. I had this album on cassette, and it didn't really sound that good. This sounds fantastic. I was blown away at how good this actually sounds. If I had this record when I did my video, the 100 Best Punk Albums, this would have been in my top 10. Thinking off of the top of my head, it probably would have been around 5 or 6, probably 6. Because I can think of 5 albums that I would not rate this above. But yeah, really, really good hardcore punk. The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 songs are just really great punk songs. And then it's got Jaw Calling. It's a reggae, but it's a dub style, and it's actually pretty good. It ends with Leaving Babylon, which is a reggae song that isn't so good. Side 2 is almost all punk until the last song, I Love, I Jaw, and it's not a very good reggae song, to be honest. And Roar Records, and this is Bad Brains. Very cool to have that, finally. I don't know what took so long. The next one is Punk 45. This is a series of albums that Soul Jazz Records releases. I have one other one in this series, and it's a gatefold. This one is not, so I think the later pressings are not gatefolds. And this is Chaos in the City of Angels and Devils, Hollywood from X to Zero, and Hardcore on the Beaches, Punk in Los Angeles, 1977 to 1981. I highly recommend this. Anyone that wants to get into early punk, check out the LA scene. I mean, it's totally underrepresented in the media. And it just collects some songs from some really cool singles. Highly recommend it. It's got this insert that tells the history of the early LA punk scene, and it's actually pretty well written. It has a couple of minor mistakes in it, but no big deal. And it continues on the inner sleeves. And it continues on the inner sleeves. This band here, Eyes, Charlotte Caffey was the bass player in this band. She left and became the guitar player in the Go-Go's. And the bass player from Blondie left Blondie and joined this band. But yeah, some really good stuff. It even has an Iggy Pop. He was living in LA in the late 70s, mid to late 70s. And I Got a Right. This is a fantastic dude. And I'll show it. It's pretty plain labels, but I'll show them. Punk 45. I highly recommend it. If you're interested in checking out some early LA punk, I think it's fantastic. The third one I got is Red Cross, Oh Canada. This is recorded live on April 13th, 1997 at The Rage in Vancouver, Canada. Fantastic set list, and it sounds great. I've never seen this on vinyl. I've only seen this on CD. This is an import from Spain, so I don't know if it's one of those bootleg things. But regardless, it sounds fantastic. And this is actually one of my favorite Red Cross albums. And it's got the McDonald Brothers on the inner sleeve. And That's what the labels look like. Doesn't he look dreamy? And the last thing I got from Amoeba is this Captain Beefheart box set. Sun Zoom Spark, 1977 to 1970. It's got Lick My Decals Off Baby, The Spotlight Kid, and Clear Spot, and plus an album of outtakes. Came with this little book that is mostly words with this one page of little bitty pictures, but it's mostly all words. I have not read that. This is Lick My Decals Off Baby. This album is the one that came out after Trout Mask Replica. I believe, in my opinion, this is a better album than Trout Mask Replica. The song structure is a little better, and I just think it's a better album. This one here, Spotlight Kid, I rate this Safe as Milk and Strictly Personal. I think those are my three favorite Beefheart albums. This is fantastic. It's got a weird instrumentation or song structures, but kind of like in a bluesy vein. I'm Gonna Burglarize You Baby, When It Blows It Stacks, Click Clack. Great blues classics, dude. This one here's Clear Spot. This one is a little more commercial. I mean, it's not like commercial, but some of these songs you could imagine being played on the radio. And the one I was really excited about was the Outtakes. It's got 7 songs on side 1, 7 songs on side 2. Have not heard it yet. All the other labels are pretty much the Reprise label. This one's a little different, so I will show this one. Very cool. They had that box set, and they had the David Bowie BBC recordings. I opted for this one because they only had the one. They were reduced in price, and I think they had 3 or 4 of the Bowie. So I'm thinking I can go back in a couple weeks and maybe pick up the Bowie one. That was on the Thursday before Mother's Day. We went to Bakersfield on the Friday, and I believe on the Saturday I went to Going Underground Records, a record store in Bakersfield. I went to Bakersfield to go visit my mom for Mother's Day, and I got 3 albums at Going Underground Records, and the first one is Zabrinsky Point. It's a soundtrack. I think the album, the soundtrack is better than the movie, but I think the album cover is better than the album. Pretty cool album cover, dude. It's got 3 songs by Pink Floyd in their soundtrack stage of their career. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty trippy, prog, psych stuff. It's got Kaleidoscope. It's got the Grateful Dead. But then it's got Patti Page, and it's got some really country stuff. So it's got this dreamy prog psych stuff, and it's got this Americana country stuff. So it's really a schizophrenic soundtrack. People that really don't like country might not like that. I dig country, so it's not a problem for me. I think it's a pretty good soundtrack. The movie sucks. The acting in it is just so stiff. Just the whole plot is just so stereotypical. It's a piece of crap is what it is. And this is the inner sleeve. In fact, that guy, he's the one that made Blow Up, and that's supposed to be a great film, and I don't think that's that good either. MGM labels. Now this next one, I bought an album by a band, Art, probably the end of last year, and they evolved into Spooky Tooth. And this is Spooky Tooth's first album. This is the US version on Bell Records. And apparently this album cover is a different shot from the English, the UK version. Very similar in the blurry effects, but it is actually a different shot. And the very strange thing is, side 1 on this album is side 2 on the UK version, and side 2 of this is side 1 on the UK version. For the life of me, I have no idea why they did that. And it is on Bell Records. And I got one last album to show, and it's Aggression, Don't Be Mistaken. Southern California hardcore punk band from the 80s. Look at those shots, man. Look at that guy, man. He's feeling it, dude. I just showed a compilation by them on Mystic Records, and Eat Shit Google made the comment that really all you need for this band is that comp and this. And I ran across this for $12.99, so I picked it up in excellent shape. And I mean, I'm familiar with this album. I just never had it. And very cool. It's on Better Youth Records. This is that label that these guys started. Anyways, take care. And hope everybody had a good Memorial Day weekend. Take care. Guys and gals.